Well, welcome everybody to our sibling rivalry Sibriv podcast on Halloween. I am joined once again by my siblings who, yet again, dispensed with any pre-show talk or any "Hey, how you doing?" and just started the live stream and threw their big brother on just to get started. I was actually eating something because I thought we'd have a little bit of pre-game chatter.
No, Dana
And then
throws
when I
us right
realized we're
in
just going
now.
straight live. Anyway, I am Dave, your host. Happy Halloween, everybody, to everyone that's joining us on Facebook, Spotify, YouTube. Am I missing one? I always miss
Not
one.
yet. Nope. You got all, you
Okay,
got
got
all,
them all.
all
got 'em
three so
all.
far.
I am joined by my younger brother, whose passion burns like a comet heading towards Earth, and my younger sister, whose brightness sparkles like neon in the dark. Dana and Michelle, how you guys doing?
I'm spooktacular.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween. One of us is looking festive, I can see.
Yeah, I got my Halloween shirt on.
What are
Got
you
my
are you
there.
supposed to be something, or are
No,
you
just festive.
awesome?
Thank you, Caitlin. She likes my outfit. And
I didn't say it was
I
bad.
have black and orange tie-dye leggings on with Halloween socks as well with pumpkins on them. This is what I wore to work today. Mine is the headband. I did not wear the headband today.
Well, great.
Yeah.
And Hunter says he will stick with us as long as he can, but he's tired from his trick-or-treating haul.
I hope you got a lot of candy.
Yeah, they got a good amount. Him and Mason went out.
Yep, I saw
Yeah.
the pictures.
How much are mom and dad going to be eating when they wake up tomorrow? How much is going to be gone?
They've probably already plowed through it.
Yeah.
We had
Um,
sorry, I just have to tell you guys, we had a surprising amount of trick-or-treaters here at the house. We get like 3, 4, maybe 6. We had 29 kids tonight.
Oh, wow.
I
Wow.
was very surprised. I'm really glad I got the 85 count bag of candy just in case we get trick-or-treaters. I'm so glad that I got that.
Well, I bought 2 pounds of candy last year expecting trick-or-treaters and got none. So I didn't buy any candy this year. So hopefully nobody comes to my house. Otherwise, I'm probably going to get egged. But
Is your light off right now?
it's off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's off. And it's not even dark yet. So,
Oh, okay.
well, for tonight's episode, no advising the internet. I thought in the spirit of Halloween, we'd take a look at some spooky stories. And I want to open with a question. I think I know the answer for this for Dana. Do either of you believe in ghosts? I don't think we've ever had this conversation before.
I believe in spirits. I don't know that I believe that they're in a, ghostly white form, like airy hovering around us, but I do believe in spirits for sure. I mean, I've gone to mediums and yes, I definitely believe in spirits. Ghosts.
Dana,
Yes.
Dana, I think I know the answer, but I don't want to speak for you. So,
Absolutely not.
well, I think all those ghost hunter TV shows. I think that's all a load of crap.
Absolutely.
I don't put
Yeah,
I don't
that's
put any
just
stock
for-
into any of those whatsoever. I do happen to believe in ghosts. I have no empirical evidence. However, towards the end of the episode, I do have an experience to share that I honestly cannot explain. So I am curious to hear your thoughts about what might have caused this.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought we'd kind of take a look into some, and I gotta apologize. I spent all week looking for, well, really a week and a half, looking for really good, true experiences, or that at least seemed like the person was being sincere. Obviously, we know every story on Reddit is a load of crap. We all believe that anyway. So when you add the supernatural to it, it kind of makes it double crap. I was disappointed at how really boring people are with their storytelling abilities. Like their stuff that they would claim is like really scary is like very cliched. Like I don't know how many Reddit stories I looked at and I'm like, oh, that's the plot of The Conjuring. Oh, that's That's the plot. Oh, most people won't know this because they're so young, but because I'm older, that's the plot of the Changeling. That happened in the Changeling. Like, so it
Oh,
just,
that's
yeah.
funny.
So I was very disappointed. So I had just a few that I thought, okay. One, I thought, all right, this person, maybe they're probably being sincere, whether it's true or not. Maybe it really is an experience they actually had with their kid. I wanted to talk about haunted hotels a little bit. There is a story that goes with that I think is total crap, but we'll let everybody decide. And then yeah, we'll talk about any unexplained experiences that we ourselves might have had.
Sounds good.
All right,
All right.
let's do it.
Oh, Dana added a nice little headline here. Reddit's own sixth sense. So this was in response to a question that somebody had on Reddit. And this is from years ago, I think like 2013, 2014. But somebody had said, "Hey, does anybody have any unexplained paranormal experiences, that they've had?" So this person said, "I've had a bunch, but one that stands out was probably the time that my then youngest son had got me up crying about a bad dream he was having at 3 a.m. He was 4 at the time. I calmed him down. Then he told me that he's hungry, so we go to the kitchen for a snack. He's sitting there eating cereal when he just kind of looks up and then casually tells me that the boy who woke him up is sitting in the corner crying. And he nods to an empty corner of the room by the table where we're seated. I asked him why the kid is crying, just kind of humoring him, when he tells me his mommy crashed the car up the road and now he's trying to figure out what's going on. He woke me up. Please tell him to go." So, with me still thinking it's my kid just shaken from the bad dream, I look at the corner and I say, "Hey, kid, go back to your mom." That looks like a very mean face that the AI came up with.
It's awful.
She's just yelling at the ghost.
Yeah. Yeah. We keep sitting there, and my son finishes his cereal and hands me the bowl. Unnecessary details to this story. Anyway, that's kind of why I thought maybe it's real. Anyway, just kind of joking around, I asked him if it worked and if the kid left. And he looks at me, meaning her son, really seriously and says, "Yes, he told me the ambulance is coming, so it's okay. They're all dead anyway." And not even a minute later, a string of cop cars and an ambulance go past our house, sirens blazing. And I got this feeling of the most intense dread while the hair stood up on the back of my neck. I shook it off, told myself it was just the kid's imagination and coincidence, and we went back to bed. A few days later, my neighbor tells me all about the big wreck a mile up the street from us where some lady was going too fast and flipped the car coming around a curve and no one survived. At 3 a.m, on the night my kid had woken me up. I did not dare ask her if a little boy was in the car. What do we think before we get to some clarifying information? Dana, I already know what Dana's going to say.
Dana's on mute right now, but I'm going to talk while he's unmuting. I totally think that kids are way more open to spirits and ghosts than we are, right? Because like as we get older, we become naive and not naive. I'm sorry. We become jaded, and we look for explanations of things. Where kids are very open, and they people always say that kids see ghosts because they're more open to accepting that they exist. So I totally believe that this could happen for sure.
Easily explainable. The kid heard the accident, came up with this whole story in his head. His imagination ran wild.
At 4 years old?
Yeah.
I mean, I've met a couple.
You didn't have an imagination when you were 4 years old?
Of course I did. I thought I was Spider-Man.
Yeah, and I had an imaginary friend named Krista. I mean, come on. So kids have an imagination.
Yeah, but that's kind of a dark imagination for a 4-year-old. They're all dead anyway. That's pretty dark, I feel like, for 4 years old.
Sounds like it was a pretty serious accident. It was probably pretty loud. He probably assumed it.
I don't believe that's what happened.
I 100% believe that's exactly what happened.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
I agree
Caitlin. Yeah.
with Caitlin. So somebody apparently had asked whether the poster had ever looked for an obituary. And they responded that I did look in the paper, but by the time I thought to look, it had either already been printed, the obituary, or maybe nothing got printed. I didn't find anything on the crash. The internet wasn't really around at that point, except in businesses, or I'd have probably gone digging some more. I've thought about it through the years.
Yeah, so this was before like the town pages of like
Um,
everyone posting every accident that
yeah,
happens.
I'm thinking probably like early to mid 90s, you know.
Hmm.
Such a wonderful time before my little brother got totally jaded and stopped believing in the magic and wonder of ghosts and the supernatural.
Should we move on? Or do you want to talk about this some more?
I kind of want to. I want to talk about it a little bit more. I
Okay.
agree with Shell. I think kids. My story that is unexplained. I'm not going to call it a ghost story because I don't want to hear my brother telling me how I'm full of crap. But my story
I wouldn't
involves
say
a
you're full of
kid.
crap. I would just say you're delusional. That's all.
I- but I'm not the one that saw anything. Well, we'll get
We'll
to
have
it.
to wait. Yes, we'll have to
Yeah,
wait
we'll
for your
wait.
story.
Okay, sure. We can move on. Actually, because I kind of have a bone to pick with my brother. Go ahead.
About what?
Oh.
Oh, what are you? Oh, I see where this is going. Is it the next? Is the next one?
Ooh.
Yeah.
We're gonna be spicy tonight.
All this time, did you know about this? Did you know
Yeah.
that the Luxor
It's an
in
old
Vegas had a
it-
haunted?
It's an old wives' tale. It obviously it's not haunted because hauntings aren't real.
You never told me anything about that. I'm not mad that you don't think it's haunted. I'm just kind of pissed that you never thought to mention to me that we were staying in a haunted hotel. You know,
I've probably
I'm all about
said that.
shit.
I've probably said that to you, and
You
you probably didn't notice it.
I had never heard that it was haunted.
I have
This was new to me.
Never heard this. This was completely new to me. I didn't know anything about this. I did not attach the story to this because this guy wrote, and this is back I think in 2020 or maybe 2018 or something. He wrote this long, rambling. I mean, people, brush up on your creative writing skills. I'm just saying. And when I say long, I mean it probably would have been like 4 pages of text about how his haunted experience at the Luxor. Of course, he says, "I've always been a skeptic," and then he proceeds to like list all this stuff that apparently happened in his hotel room. I think his story was crap, but I'm curious about the Luxor thing because I've never obviously seen anything there. I will say the Luxor is the one time in my entire life that I have ever felt the call of the void.
What does that mean?
It's that random urge you get to put yourself in danger. So,
Like,
as an
okay, so
example,
you never did you?
What?
Did,
I
did
took
we
a
stay
picture.
did we stay in the pyramid? Yeah, we stayed in
stayed
the
at the
pyramid.
pyramid.
Every time I'm in the pyramid, I get that feeling, but I don't think that's not ghosts. It's not haunted.
I'm
I
not
think it's-
claiming that.
I think
No,
it's your
I'm not saying
mind
that
messing
it
with
is.
you because you're high up on looking straight down this little to no barrier between you
I
and
don't know.
like
I don't know if you
hundreds
can
of
see
feet.
my
Well,
picture.
I put some pictures up here, but
Yeah. So first of all, hold on. I'm not claiming that it was a supernatural thing that made me feel that way. I'm just saying that is the only time in my life we stayed in the pyramid. I don't know what floor we were on. I'm scared of heights. So the call of the void is not some supernatural thing. It's a pretty common phenomenon that people have, like that random weird voice in your head that's like, oh, you're at a high height. Why don't you step off?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you're it doesn't mean that you're suicidal. It doesn't mean there's anything mentally wrong with you. I think it's some
it
psychological
could be so easy
thing.
just to jump or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been in high places before. They always freak me out. The Luxor was the first place where I was like, oh, I want to keep looking at this distance. I want to
Yeah,
get
it's
closer and
crazy.
closer and closer until,
That's crazy.
Hi.
Yeah.
so.
It's a very odd feeling.
So people were talking about the Luxor, and this will be news to Shell. It wasn't news to me, I guess. But, somebody said this place has been cursed from the very beginning with a lot of deaths in the construction of it. Mafia deaths buried beneath the property, allegedly. 4 suicides between when it opened in 93 and now. A couple of murders and accidental deaths from safety hazards on some of the attractions. I didn't know it was slated to be demolished next year. Are they making
Is it?
way to the stadium? Is that what they're doing, or is it
No,
something?
no, that's been a rumor for years. It's never actually been confirmed.
Dana believes no rumors about this hotel whatsoever,
Well, I know
haunted or
that
not.
I know of at least one murder because I know a few years ago there was like two dealers that were having like an affair, and the dealer's boyfriend waited in the parking lot, and when her lover came out, he like murdered him in the parking lot.
So he
Yeah.
haunts the hotel now.
Yeah. Well, I can say, the only thing that scared the shit out of me when staying at the Luxor was the $18 slice of pizza. So, um, so another person posted and commented, and they said that they have heard of the blonde woman who haunts the 12th floor. It's rumored she was somebody who committed suicide in the hotel. One time, a Chinese tourist had to be attended to by a doctor because he said he got on the elevator and a blonde woman who was on when he entered disappeared right before his eyes. Guests on several floors said they could hear his screaming as the elevator descended. LOL. I guess this person think that's
Now,
funny.
so this one, I feel like maybe this person just had a lot to drink.
And maybe some
And maybe
drugs.
took some drugs, and like so he
There was some
thought
heavy-
that something was appeared, and he was reacting in real time, which is why
On-
people heard him screaming.
On our last trip to Vegas, they were hosting like a rave or something at the Luxor, and there was a lot of people that were heavily drinking and drugged.
Yeah, like some of the Vegas stuff you can kind of justify in a way, or I don't know if justify is the right word, like explain that it couldn't be a ghost or a haunting, because this, I feel like just this person had too many drugs and was like, oh my God, ah, like yelling, and then people heard him and was like, what is this guy yelling at?
Another comment. I did not write this. Somebody else did. When I stayed at the Luxor about 2 years ago, my room was pretty high up. I felt the most sickening, horrible feeling to throw myself off the edge when walking along the catwalk to the rooms. It's not really a catwalk. It's just like a balcony.
Yeah, it's just a
Okay.
balcony. Yeah.
Okay.
It was so compelling. I am not suicidal in any way, but something was just urging me, and I kept on seeing myself just falling, hitting the top of the food court and the roofs of the buildings, if that's what they are, below. Plus, the barrier is only just above hip height. I'm 5 feet. I probably wouldn't stay there again. I would feel that feeling anytime walking to and from my room. Like I said, that's a pretty common phenomenon to have those
they're about
images in your head.
They're about chest height, I think.
Well,
Yeah,
doesn't it
maybe not
depend on
hip
how
height. Hip
tall
height
you
would be
are?
a little low.
How tall you
I mean,
are?
apparently
It-
this person's like 8 feet tall, so
I mean, I love the Luxor food court. I gotta tell you, love that food court.
Even with the prices.
yeah, the pizza
Well-
place is really expensive.
Yeah, I didn't go to
In
the
the food
pizza
court.
place. I went to
The chicken
some
place is good.
chicken. Yes,
Yeah, the chicken place is good.
place. And on the, I think I told this story before, but on the placemat, there was a coupon for buy one get one half off. Like, and it was for breakfast. It was a breakfast sandwich, and so Mike and I would do that because I love a bargain. So in the morning we would like do a cheap breakfast and then spend do the real like lunch and dinner food stuff. But yeah, that was a great food court. I never really
Yeah.
spent any time in the Luxor, just walking to get to Mandalay or like
you know,
down to the
yeah.
other side of the strip.
I'll be honest with you though, I'm still floored about the fact that this hotel has like a haunted reputation, and in all the times that I've gone with Dana, which is what, 4 or 5 times, something like that, we've gone to Vegas.
Well, don't forget the first time we went to Excalibur, we didn't stay at the Luxor.
Right, but I mean we've gone to the Luxor
They're
every
connected,
time.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've gone there every time.
Well,
I
he didn't
just-
tell
I'm
Caitlin
surprised
either.
I
Did you see that come up? He didn't
Yeah.
tell Caitlin that it was haunted either.
I mean, I would think if there was going to be a haunted hotel, it would have been Mandalay Bay. I mean, that's the site of the Vegas
That's
shooting.
yeah.
Yeah. Who's to say there's
Which,
not?
to this day, we still don't have an explanation of. Isn't
That's
it
true.
crazy?
Of
It's
like
been-
who
It's
it was,
been-
you mean?
What was it, 2018? It's been 7 years. We still don't know what the hell happened there. Why he did it. There's still no reason. They've never really released anything. They just kind of moved on. The FBI
Yeah.
just kind of moved on. It's one of the most bizarre. I think it's the biggest mass shooting in our country's history, and
Oh,
we
wow.
know
It might
nothing
be.
about it. I mean, 500 injured, countless dead. I mean, that's crazy.
It is crazy.
And you listen to the stories from the people that are there, it's like horrifying.
Oh yeah, I can't imagine.
All right. Next
Okay,
story, dude.
another haunted hotel story. This one from our friends up in the Great White North, Canada. Um, this person says, for context, I believe to this day that the vast majority of, not all, paranormal videos and photos have a plausible explanation outside of the paranormal. I just want to add a side note. I would go one extra from what this guy's saying and saying they're all a bunch of crap. This means that these videos and photos can be easily explained away as either CG, poor quality cameras, pareidolia. I always say that wrong.
What is
Or
that? What does that mean?
that's like when you like, oh, look at that cloud. It's shaped like a dog. It's like when we
Oh,
see
okay.
shapes and it's our brains. We're wired to see patterns and shapes
Okay.
that aren't there. So that's what it is. It's just that.
Okay.
Or as outright fakes. Needless to say, I do feel that there still can be paranormal shit that happens. However, at the time when this happened about 8 years ago, and when I didn't believe in ghosts as much, my family and I were staying at the Fort Garry Hotel in Winnipeg, Manitoba. I had a few spare moments and decided to explore the hotel because it is absolutely beautiful. I got lost, as I usually do in buildings, since I get directionally challenged the moment I step into one.
This is the actual hotel, by the way, on that picture.
Oh, okay.
It does look gorgeous from the outside.
Yeah, it does.
Seeing that picture, actually, okay, I could see how somebody might feel a little bit lost there. So I was thinking like a little in bed and breakfast type of thing.
That was what I was originally thinking until I looked it up. And then I was like, oh, okay. Not quite as big
Anyway.
as the whole The Shining Hotel, but, we're getting there.
The Overlook, yeah. Anyway, I happened to run into someone that looked like they worked for the hotel, but weren't house cleaning, or a clerk. So I was unsure of their position or job. I asked for directions back to the lobby since I had to meet my family in a few minutes. The moment I arrived in the lobby and walked past the front desk, a clerk and a security guard were staring at me in shock and pale faces. The security guard asked me who I was talking with earlier for the directions back to the lobby. There's some problems with this story. I told him I thought it was someone who worked at the hotel. Well, wouldn't you know it, it turns out that the floor I was on, I can't remember it for the life of me, has a bunch of paranormal shit that goes on regularly. I don't know if he was supposed to, but the security guard showed me the footage he had just seen. Like I said, problems here with the story. The person I was talking with never appeared on the security feed, even though they should have been in plain view. It was super creepy because I had just shaken this person's hand for some reason, and the footage just showed me shaking hands with the air. The person appeared in front of me as any other person would have. When I touched their hand, it felt like any squishy person would normally. I've never felt a squishy hand, and yet they never showed up on the footage. Sorry, I just
Squishy hand.
That's a yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely fake.
It is. I agree, Caitlin. I think it's fake.
There was no way I could have blocked out the person from view of the camera either, as I'm only 5'6". The security guard even pulled up a second angle for further proof. No one else believes me, despite the footage. To this day, I still don't know how to explain it.
I have a question. If she was lost,
I think this was a guy.
if he was lost, yet was close enough that the people at the front desk could see him talking to nobody, how lost was he?
No, he was on
No.
an entirely
He was
separate
on a different floor.
Yes,
He's saying the
but
security guard was watching the footage and
Was
saw
watching
him.
the footage and
Yeah,
saw him talking to empty air.
because the way it worded sounded like she walked by the lobby, and the front desk people were
was-
like, "Oh my god, what?"
That's what I thought until I reread it and saw him saying the security guard showed him the footage, and I was like, oh,
Oh, because I'm like, how lost
It
could
was
you have
just-
been if you were right there? Like,
was
that
just
didn't
very-
make sense to me.
very poorly written.
Okay.
Very, very poorly. Most of them were very poorly written. I was scraping the
Very
bottom
true.
of the barrel. Yeah. Yeah. So we are all in agreement that this is definitely fake. Like I
No,
said,
think
I,
so.
I mean, isn't it standard protocol that security guards just show everybody random
I
footage from them?
isn't it standard protocol that they have a whole setup at the check-in counter where they can like zoom through
No,
footage?
seriously,
See,
look,
that's
here,
what
here's the
I
footage.
mean. That's what I mean. I don't know unless security is at the front desk, but I've never known that to be. Is that what people have behind front desk
Usually
counters?
it's-
That I
usually it's
didn't
in a
think it
different room.
was.
It's a completely
That's what
different
I
Usually it's
room.
in
would
a
think.
different room.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I did stay at the Roosevelt Hotel in New York.
Was it
that-
haunted?
It is supposed to be. They did that movie, Room 14. Come on, guys, help me. 1428 room.
I
It was a
think that's it.
movie, right?
There is a
1428,
movie
I
about-
think. Yeah. So I stayed in that hotel, but nothing. I don't remember anything creepy about it, but just that it was, that something had happened and there was a movie based on it.
I gotta tell you, like, Montana, I think is a super, super haunted state, and England is got to be one of the most haunted countries in the world. And take this as you will. I know my brother will not believe it, but I lived there for 2 years. I was stationed over there for 2 years, and when I went to Virginia afterwards, I worked as a PT assistant, and when I was working with somebody, either active duty or their spouse or whatever, you talk and you chat and you talk about like where you've been before. I had so many people that had been in England say my house was haunted or my flat was haunted. So many.
Really?
Yes. There are some corners in England that are just very, I don't know how to describe it.
Did you
Weird
have a
stuff
haunted flat?
In England,
Yeah.
so a couple stories. Nothing that happened to me. The only thing that happened to me directly, and it didn't even happen, my first flat before I got married. I lived in a small, tiny little village. I went to sleep one night and I had this really, really, really vivid dream, like very vivid, where I actually thought I was awake for most of the dream, where these people in robes were chanting and drawing like runes and symbols on my walls, all over the walls. And it was really freaky. And I woke up the next day and I was so freaked out that I actually had to spend the day like outside of the flat. Like I went and did, because again, nothing, I don't think there's anything paranormal about it. I think the dream was just so disturbing that I was like, I got to get out of here.
I was waiting for David to say, I woke up and there was runes on my walls.
However, you guys remember my first wife. Oh, good night, Hunter.
Oh, good night.
Sweet
We
dreams.
love you.
Sweet dreams on top.
My first wife, as I'm sure you both remember, she lived in that flat for a short time before we moved to another place. I would go to work, and I worked a swing shift at that time. I worked from 3 p.m. to 1 a.m. So when I would get home, she would always be freaked out because she's like, there's just all these weird noises here. Like just, and it could have been, it was a somewhat old building.
Yeah.
Then we moved to a different town. We moved to, it looked like a Harry Potter neighborhood, actually. Like the place that we lived. That was another place where I had the worst nightmares ever when I lived in England. So I used to have this recurring dream that I would walk downstairs because it was a 2-level place. I'd walk downstairs, and when you come downstairs, there's like a nice long living room. And if you walk to the front of the house, like towards the front of the living room, you look to your left, there's like the entryway.
Scared me.
And on the other side would be our little kitchen, which was a very nice kitchen just to make Michelle feel better. It had knotty pine for the cabinets and stuff. It was very, very cheerful. I used to have this dream that I would come downstairs and I would look from the living room into the kitchen, and there would be an old woman wearing a black and red shawl doing something at the counter. And she would turn around and she would have no eyes. And I would wake up screaming And I had
my
this dream like
God.
7 or 8 times. It used to freak my ex-wife out a lot. It was really bad. She used to have dreams about this like little British boy that would like peek his head into the door or the bedroom
God.
and call her name.
Jennifer.
And
Jennifer.
no, it was Jenny, wake up, Jenny, and he would do that like all the time.
That's so
But
creepy.
it was a creepy place. The one big incident that I was not present for, but we had friends, a guy I worked with and his wife, and they had 4 kids, and their youngest was only 3. So our friend, she came over with her 3-year-old. I wasn't there at the time. Um, but her 3-year-old started freaking out and pointing at the corner of the living room saying
Oh.
witchy poo, and he like would not be consoled whatsoever, and they were like, what the hell is going on? And he would not calm down until they left.
Wow. See,
So
kids, I'm telling you, kids are
and then he
open.
and then he
Crazy
was saying,
imaginations.
yeah,
So much so that you can't be consoled, though, Dana. Really?
A 3-year-old? Yeah. You've never seen a 3-year-old be inconsolable? I have 3 kids. Kids can be
I
inconsolable
guess not.
over the smallest things.
but
Wow.
over a very specific thing that they keep coming back to until you remove them from the.
The home.
I think with children, a lot of times there could be some link to trauma, some sort of trauma. And their brains don't know how to process it, and it externalizes it as what apparently Michelle would call like a spirit or a ghost or whatever, but it's really just their brains trying to understand what's happened to them that's traumatized them. And they don't know they don't know how to process it, and they don't know how to communicate it. That's
I disagree,
that's always been my opinion with kids.
But so you have to understand that I am a believer in God, right? And I believe in the Bible. I believe like in the Bible there are spirits, and it's very clear that like you should not go see mediums, and like I have, and Mom would always be like, that's not biblical. Like it's biblical. You need to be careful. That's devil's work and all these things, and I would still go. But so like of course I'm going to believe that they're spirits because I believe in heaven. So I believe in a hell. You know what I'm saying? Not that all spirits are in hell, but I'm just saying heaven, hell, it's a spirit
Well,
regardless. Our soul
well,
goes somewhere.
I will share with you my actual unexplained experience, which I'm sure my brother is going to chalk up to child imagination, but
Or trauma.
or so this took place in Montana. It was in 1999. I had a couple friends that had rented. I call it an apartment, but it was really like a small house, one
How old were
story.
you? How old were you?
I would have been 23.
Okay.
I had a really good group of friends in Montana that I hung out with pretty much all the time. 2 of my friends had just gotten married, and they rented this small house, like 1 level. You walk in, again, has a really long hallway. So you've got like the living area and kitchen, and then straight ahead is a long hallway with, at the end of the hall, just a spare room that they weren't using for anything, and then their bedroom. Um, I'm not somebody that gets vibes a lot, but I never appreciated the vibe of that place. It always made me just feel kind of sketchy. There's nothing, happened until this one incident. But so a group of us are over at our friend's house, and 2 of my other friends, a very good friend of mine, his name is Scott, and his wife, Melody. They had a 1.5-year-old, and he, he was about 15 months old.
Oh,
So,
that's
so,
disgusting. You know what? This is a haunted story.
so anyway, good kid, but energetic as 15-month-olds often are. And there was one night we're all hanging out, and he decides to run down the hall. And Mel is like, because she had just sat down, and I was like, I'll go get him. So I go down the hall, and he's in the spare room. and he's playing peekaboo with something behind the door. He's like sticking his head behind the door and then pulling his head back and giggling, and then stick his head behind and then you pull it back and giggle. Now keep in mind the door opened into the room, so there was like maybe this much space between the door and the wall.
Okay.
And then and I'm like, okay, so that freaked me out a little bit. I'm like, whatever. So I picked him up and I'm like, hey buddy, let's go back. And he starts drinking from his bottle, and I I go, you know how like you just kind of talk to kids, you know, it's like I was like, hey, you gonna share that? And he turns around to the middle of the room and holds his bottle out to the So I'm like,
He was gonna share it with the ghost.
I'm like hurrying back down to the living room, and I give him some Mel, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine." This actually happened. I did not imagine it. He actually did, and he did it directly in response when I said that. He turned around and he looked, and he started giggling and held it out to the middle of the room.
Well, I think it's a spirit that's haunting you personally, because the entire time you told that story, you sounded like you were underwater, and I think the spirit didn't
Right?
want you telling that story to the world.
Yeah, it was so weird. You totally sounded like you were underwater.
The
I thought
entire
it was
time,
just me.
from the time you started talking about the house until the time you ended the story, it sounded like you were underwater. It sounded like you were underwater, and then it cleared up.
Yeah, just like that. Yeah. Do you have a ghost with you right now? Offer it some milk.
Okay, so I
Actually,
have.
David, what is that behind you over your left shoulder?
It's funny you say that, because Hawaii and I, you know, we have this little joke where she's like, "Oh, do you have a woman in there? Do you have?" And I'll like swing my phone around, or you know, the computer, so she can see that the room's empty. And I told her, I'm like, one of these days, you're gonna be like, "Do you have a woman in there?" And as a joke, I'm gonna be panning my camera around, and there's gonna be some ghostly figure there.
Oh, that's funny.
Another thing I can't explain is my wife, like my brother, is also an atheist, and yet ghosts scare her. So I don't know how that works.
How can that be?
I don't know.
You know what creeps me out? People creep me out a lot more
Well-
than ghosts do. I think people
yeah,
are
that too.
capable of a whole lot more evil than some fake ghost or fake paranormal thing are. People are scary.
That is
So-
awesome. Two things can be true. Both things
So-
can be true.
So how? And again, I'm not necessarily claiming this was a paranormal experience, but what would your explanation be?
Are you asking Dana
Was this an old-
specifically?
Was
I'm
this an old
asking
house?
both of you.
Was this an old house?
I don't know how old it was. I would say it was probably built in like the 50s.
What I'm asking is, would it be possible that some sort of animal got in the house and he was playing peekaboo with like an animal, like a mouse or a squirrel or a raccoon?
What?
What? No, I would believe a ghost before I'd believe an animal.
Are you
In
serious?
the
An
middle,
animal is
in the middle of a room?
behind a door, hiding behind a door.
Dana, do you need to take a break? Are you tired? Worn out?
An animal is much more
I'm
of
just-
a reasonable
I'm-
explanation than a ghost.
No
I
way.
mean, I'm just
not that
just
kind of
kinda worried.
animal.
I'm worried about you after all these mental gymnastics you've been doing.
You guys are the ones doing the mental gymnastics.
No,
I haven't
I,
done any.
My
I
mind's
for
quite fit.
sure-
I don't need to do gymnastics.
I for sure think that there was a spirit in that. Like, I am a firm believer that kids. Because how do you explain when a younger kid, like a 1 or 2 year old, looks at a picture of a parent, like a grandparent that's passed, and they know that it's a grandparent? They're like, Papa, that's Papa. How do you explain that when you've never mentioned Papa to them? They don't know what Papa looks like.
100%. I'm sure the parents have mentioned it to them before.
I
I'm
know
just
a
saying-
woman who that happened. Their daughter was like, "Oh, that's Grandpa," and she was like, "I'm sorry." The mom was like, "Wait, what? Who's Grandpa?" And she pointed right to the picture. Like, how would that baby have known? The baby was like 1, maybe like, I don't know, 18 months, but.
Well,
Maybe
for
they just
my
assumed
story-
old people were grandpa.
No, I don't
They
think
see it
that's
like
what
maybe
it
they
is.
assume an old guy is grandpa.
No.
They call and I bet you if you tested it, they'd probably call every old person grandpa.
No, I don't. No, grandparents are special. You know, you don't just go around calling every old person grandma and grandpa. You know who your grandpa is. You know who your grandma is.
I'm not a year and a half old. Wouldn't.
So you're saying that your 3 boys went around to every woman that looked like mom's age and said, Mimi, that's Mimi.
Yeah, or Dada to some random dude. Or,
No, you are full of it. Oh my God. You
Sure,
are
the only
so
person-
stubborn.
the only
Oh
person
my God.
The only person they were probably 100% positive was Caitlin because she spent so much time with them. But
You are full of it. Caitlin, please weigh in. I need a sound mind on this one. Did the boys call every old, not that mom was old, but every older woman Mimi? I need to know, Caitlin. I need to know.
she claims it never happened. But
Yeah, because it didn't. I rest my case. Caitlin's on my side.
a little kid, a year and a half, doesn't know any better.
I disagree. So anyway, David, I believe there was a spirit because, again, I go back to the fact that kids believe in everything.
I'm not claiming it was a spirit. I'm just saying it did actually happen the way I told it, and I have no explanation for it.
Could have been one of the people under the stairs.
It was a ghost.
I don't buy this idea that he was playing peekaboo with a mouse.
He could have been. An old stuffed animal? All more logical, all more reasonable than to think it's a ghost.
I think it was a ghost.
I didn't say. I'm not saying it was a ghost. I'm saying what would the explanation be? I mean, he.
I don't
did
know,
turn
David.
to
The
the
simple
empty
thing
chair.
would have been just to go and look. That would have been the simple answer to go and find out.
I was in.
You
I
little
just-
scaredy cat! Oh, I was running back to everybody. I was so scared. Why wouldn't you
Okay.
just go look and see what was to be looking at?
I picked him up, looked behind the door. I told you there was nothing behind the door. There was this much
When we-
space between the door and the
When
wall.
we lived in New Hampshire, we lived in the farmhouse, which was a creepy old farmhouse. It was built in like the 1800s, and our cats would sit at the foot of the stairs, and they would just all night look up. We slept downstairs because there was mice, like infested upstairs. So we would sleep in the living room, and the cats would just stare upstairs all night and freak Caitlin out. I'm like, they're just looking at the mice. They're hearing
Yeah.
the mice and they're looking at the mice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
but it would creep her
reasonable.
out because they would
That's
just sit there all night.
That's
and they would just
reasonable
looking up
to
the
me.
stairs.
That's a
Yes.
reasonable explanation.
Yeah.
There was nothing behind the door.
But out of context, if I hadn't told you there was mice, out of context, you would be like, oh, they must have been looking at spirits. It was an old house in
No.
the 1800s, and the cats were just sitting there looking up all night.
No, I
For
think
hours
if
on
you
end.
had said that,
No.
I would have said
If
to you,
I
well, do
hadn't
you
told
think
you-
there was animals in that
That's
house?
exactly-
If you
but
said
that's
it's an
the-
old farmhouse, that's very
on.
reasonable that there would be mice. The
Dana,
house
you
was
were-
definitely haunted, Caitlin said.
Dana, you're drawing false comparisons here because if you had not given us context and you said the cats are just staring up at something, of course we're going to think they're probably sensing an animal or seeing an animal or whatever. Now, if you had said my 3 boys when they were really young would just stare at this up at the stairs, I wouldn't be like, oh, they're probably just seeing mice, and that's what's holding their attention for 20 minutes at a time. You know.
Yeah, I mean, talking about kids, I also believe pets are open to spirits. I don't think that's what this was. I do, though. I do believe that
That's what I
pets,
mean. If I had told you, if I hadn't said,
pets can sense things.
if I hadn't brought up the mice part, if I hadn't said the top floor
No.
was infested with mice, and I
No.
just said we stayed in this old farmhouse in New Hampshire in the middle of nowhere with like a 3/4 of a
No.
mile to our nearest neighbor on the bed of a lake
No.
and in the hills, and our cats would just sit there and stare all night at the top stairs and meow.
Yes, but animals have different senses than humans.
Yeah. I mean, I lived
So
in
I
a house
would-
in the middle of nowhere in New Hampshire with 2 cats, and they would hiss at the air and do weird stuff all the time. I never attributed it to any sort of like paranormal activity.
Yeah, when
Even when they would
cannoli-
like stop and their hackles would raise and they would stare at a corner of the kitchen and they'd be like, and I'd be like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, normally if cannoli's barking, it's at something outside. But sometimes we go out there and there's nothing. We are like, we don't know what you heard, and then we just are like, oh, it's probably a squirrel, like that we just didn't see or that we didn't hear that he heard from across the street or something. You know what I mean?
I mean, maybe the kid was one after your own heart, David. He was playing peekaboo with a door stopper.
Oh,
Okay. Hey,
maybe.
but what about holding his bottle out to the empty air in response to me saying, are you going to share that?
He could have been trying to hold it out to you. You were holding him.
No, I was holding him. He turned around and held it out to the empty air. I'm holding him like, what the hell?
He's a young child with a really bad sense of direction.
I think ghost. I believe
I don't
ghost.
know. I don't know if it was ghosts or not, but it definitely was not mice.
I'm voting mice or some sort of animal that's stuck in the house, or even a teddy bear.
So, have you ever had any experience you could not explain? Not a ghost, not paranormal, but any experience that was beyond the easy, rational explanation that you could just brush away.
No,
not
when I was in
really.
when I was in high school, me and my friends,
Boring.
we would try to do stuff to scare ourselves. Like we would desperately, any stories we heard about, like, the old Hanson Hospital, we used to sneak in there at night and see if we could hear the ghosts. And it was just a dirty old rundown hospital. For people that don't know, it was like in like the 30s and 40s, it was like a tuberculosis hospital. And like it's always been rumored it was like haunted. And it's, people make YouTube videos on it and stuff. Like we used to sneak in there when I was in high school. And then there was this other story of this place in Cohasset where supposedly the family had a daughter that like ran into the pond and drowned.
Ooh.
And they had like a statue built in her honor. And we used to go at night and look. And the rumors were that the statue would move. And if you parked and you just turn your lights off and you look just long enough, you might see like it appeared like the statue was moving and waving. And we used to try to creep ourselves with that.
See, I think that's like a mind trick.
Yeah.
Like you're looking for it to move. So
And
then
then
you're like,
the
oh my
only
God, it
time-
moved. There it was. I just saw it,
The only time I was legitimately scared, and it was because it was a person. There was this other house. I forget where it was. I think it was somewhere in Hingham. And it was like set back, and they had these big, monstrous gates in their driveway that they closed at night. And it was very ominous. It was like an old house, and it was gated. And we used to just drive up and like just check out the gates because it was kind of creepy. And then one night, someone just came out of nowhere and like started like walking towards us. Like we were obviously
But it was a real person?
But it scared the crap out of us. Yeah, it was a real person.
I think the only thing I can think of right now, Caitlin says Dana has a sixth sense and has bad feelings that sometimes come true.
I think I'm just in tune to people that I really care about. That's my hunch.
Oh, okay.
I think that is a really finely developed sense of intuition. I think even when it seems like we're reading the future, it's really just whatever latent, normal, natural senses that we have from, way back when that we don't really use now are kicking in, and we're able to make
an example of this is a couple of years ago. I was like talking to Caitlin. I was like, I should call Aunt Anlene and Uncle Dana. I think something's wrong. Something just feels wrong. And it was like, I don't know, 8 a.m. And I called Auntie, and they had just come back from Florida and I think or whatever, and they had to put down
from
Chloe.
vacation.
So Auntie was like in tears. So, like, I just knew something was wrong. I hadn't talked to them. I hadn't seen any posts or anything like that because they hadn't posted. I just really strongly felt something was wrong, and I had to call Auntie, and that's when she told me they were going to have to put Chloe down. And she was like, in tears. It's, things like that. Or there was times I would feel like something was wrong with like Mom or Steve, and I would call, and then my mom would be creeped out, and she'd be like, how did you know? Like, whatever. So like maybe there was like a health thing going on. And she was, I don't know how you would know that. I was like, I just had I got a feeling. And then I feel like it gets so strong, I have to reach out to the person.
Like
just
it
to make
feels
sure
heavy.
and I have to
Yeah.
reach out to the person to make sure it's okay. So yeah, that's what she's talking about when she says that.
I mean, I would explain that as you're probably feeling the resonance from bears in the woods taking a poop, and it's just really weighing on you, and it causes these associations, and then you're like, I need to reach out to this person. It's like, yeah, that's my explanation. It's probably animal related.
You think so?
No.
You don't think it's like an evolutionary thing?
I do think it's an evolutionary
Or do you think
thing,
that some people are better at that than others? Like people that are
Yes.
like empathetic
I think
and,
Yeah. I mean, we are energy, right? In a lot of ways, like electrical impulses and energy. I also think that, yeah, evolutionarily, speaking from that standpoint, we live in a much different world now than the ones that we came into, as the human race. So that sense of danger or that sense of awareness doesn't need to be as finely developed today. And I think, yes, some people are better at it than others. I do remember I remember going back to what Dana said about being scared of people. I do remember, I don't know if you remember this, Dana, you might. I was 10, so you would have been 5, and we had just moved into Eastwater Street. And do you remember how there was that stairway that went up onto the roof that led to Mom and your dad's bedroom? On a Saturday night at like midnight or 1 o'clock.
You know, the guy that came in through the window?
Tried to come in through the window wearing nothing but his underwear.
Oh, he was drunk, huh?
His father was flipping
Something
out.
was going. Your father was
Mom took
flipping
you.
out.
Mom took you. She just ran us all down, and Fred was flipping out.
Oh, I
He
can
was
imagine.
flipping,
I can imagine. He
Justifiably,
could flip like a
he was
switch.
flipping.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess in that sense, I'm okay with that. Him flipping in that, like some guy trying to come in the middle of the night.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's
I'm
the
okay with
appropriate
that one.
response.
I don't think there's any other response in that situation.
Yeah, I'm okay with that one. No, what I was gonna say is So do you guys know about the Bridgewater
Triangle?
Yes. I honestly
No.
don't know. Okay, I don't know that much about it, to be honest. I've never looked into it because I guess I don't want to surround myself with scary things. Like, I don't want paranormal things to happen near me, to me. So I go to a medium, sure, but that's not the...
Mediums.
Well, mediums...
Yeah, I don't story.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
mean, mediums
I
are
think-
very much like, what does Mike always call it? Like what magicians do. Not sleight of hand.
cold read. The cold
cold
read.
read, yes. Where, like, they try something, if it doesn't work, they change gears. Yeah. But there are some things that are, like, well, I guess I have two. But the first one I was going to say is there was one time I was driving down High Street, and I looked over. You know where High Street is, Dana? Off of 18?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know what that is, David?
Sure.
Okay. driving down, and I just happened, it was late at night. Mike was driving, I was in the passenger, and I just happened to look over and I saw this, like, person. I think it was a person. And they were like, you know how, like, in scary movies, like, the ghosts and zombies, like, crawl up doors and they're real slow? It looked like that, and he was gray. And then when I looked back, he was gone. And I was like, that must have just been, like, I never thought anything of it. I was like, there's no way that was, like, anything. I must have just had an eyelash in my eye. I was tired. It was late. Maybe someone was just turning the light off. Like, I really was like, this is not anything. But then I found out that there is this Bridgewater Triangle that's haunted, and there's unexplained things that happen.
Well, it's all perfectly explained, and it's not just Bridgewater. It's like the triangle is like the point is at Bridgewater, and it goes down to like New Bedford, and then like out to Acushnet or whatever. Yeah, so it's like this.
But it was on
this triangle of towns in the area.
It was within that triangle, and I was like, huh.
But it's all like
maybe that was something.
It's all murders, and a lot of them are murders of like prostitutes and stuff. So. Like if you look into it, it's all
it was a prostitute crawling.
It's all very explainable.
Crawling up the door. It was so weird. I just was like, I'm like, I hope that person. It was more like I hope that person's okay. Like maybe they're just trying to get in. I didn't know. It was very weird. But then we
this is like
drove
the thing
too
that happens.
fast,
Like this is the thing that happens is people want to connect everything, right? It's like so a bunch of murders happen in and you say, oh, it's such a close area. It's actually a pretty wide area. If you want to drive the Bridgewater Triangle, it would take you a couple hours.
I didn't realize it went all the way down to New Bedford.
But it's like all those murders that were happened from like the 90s up through like the late 2000s. And people say, oh, there's a New England serial killer because someone got murdered in Massachusetts and in Rhode Island and in Connecticut. It's the New England serial killer. And it's like like people just want to find connections, especially in this age of true crime. Everyone wants to find connections with everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other thing, when I did go to a medium, I had gone and the person behind me, the woman had asked if, like, because she kept looking to this woman behind me and said, like, I see a drowning near you. I see drowning. Like, someone died. And the girl was like, no, I haven't had anyone. And I was like, oh, that's weird. I said, I know, like, in our family, we had someone that drowned, which was, it was mom's,
Cousin, like second cousin or whatever.
no, I thought it was, wasn't it Joe? Nana's man friend?
No, he didn't drown.
Are you sure?
No,
Positive.
that was Grandpa Pete.
Maybe it was Pete.
Grandpa Pete is the one.
Someone
that drowned.
came through and all the names match. I'm going to have to ask Auntie because I feel like Joe was the name. Do we have a Joe in the family?
Joe was Nana's.
Joe
like,
was
really,
Nana's
really good friend,
companion friend.
companion. Yeah, they met. They're buried next to each other at the
Okay.
cemetery.
It was somehow connected, but someone drowned and it was all like my energy that she was picking up on and not, even though I never met them. So I don't know how true that was, but it was a little strange. But again, I just am like, oh, that's strange. I don't know that I am like convinced that it was Joe or whoever, Grandpa Pete, coming to say hey.
The only, I don't know. What do you think of this idea? I know, again, I don't want to speak for my brother, but what do you think of this idea of like the spirits of dead loved ones visiting you in dreams?
I believe that
In dreams,
I'm-
it's happened to me in dreams.
because I've seen Mom a lot.
Me too, and I've seen Sarah a lot. But I also think that's just like our hearts and our minds really wanting to be with
See
that person
the-
again
yeah.
and see them again and talk to them again. I don't think that's that. To me, it's not. I don't necessarily believe it's literally their spirit, although it can give you some comfort. I think it's really inside of you, just really wanting to see that person again and be with them again and talk to them again and
Yeah,
hear them again.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know that I necessarily think it was spirit. I just think, like you said, I think I either think about them or I'm just missing them without really realizing it. Yeah, I don't know. Because the only way I think it was a spirit is if it gave me some kind of warning. Like if Mom was like, be careful with this, I don't know, person that you're hanging out with, or be careful about this situation at work. Like if it was a very specific warning and then that came to fruition, then I would be like, whoa, maybe that really was Mom coming to tell me, be careful. But
See, I don't even know if I would listen to that because some mom used to say that all the time, and like she was right maybe 25% of the time.
I think the only dead loved ones that I've ever had a dream about, I've never had a single one about Mom.
really?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Nana,
Oh, I've had one about Nana and I've never met her.
and then the other one, actually, an ex-girlfriend.
Wow.
Do you guys remember Michelle?
Yeah.
She's dead.
She came. So I never told you this story. So she came to visit. For those who don't know, she was somebody I was dating. I came home on leave. It was
Yeah.
before I went to England.
Yeah.
She came with me back to Boston. That was the year Dana graduated, right? That was
I
your
think so, yeah.
graduation.
Yeah.
We broke up after that. We had talked by email a few times, like the year after, but I was never entirely happy with the breakup, mainly, honestly, the way I handled it. So I would think to myself over the years, like, oh, I should reach out to her. And I never did. And then 2008 rolls around when everybody's joining Facebook. And I saw her on Facebook and I'm like, and then I was like, no, I should just leave it alone. She's probably moved on. It probably doesn't matter. No point in making an apology now, 8 years later. And then in 2012, it was it must have been July or August because it was after my second marriage. And I had the dream in Portland while I was in Portland. I had this dream that a limousine pulled up. I was walking down the street at night, just some random street, and a limousine pulls up and Michelle gets out of the back and she's wearing this like long evening gown, like a golden evening gown. And her hair was cut short the way it was. She had showed me a picture of her high school prom. So her hair was cut that way. And in the dream, I just looked at her and I walked up to her and I hugged her and I just cried. And she didn't say anything. She just hugged me back. And then I was like, all right, that was kind of a weird dream. I didn't think anything of it. And then in 2016, Michelle had the same birthday that Caitlin does, April 30th.
Oh.
So in 2016, I started to get the urge again, like, oh, I should just reach out to her. And then I looked her up on Facebook and I found a memorial page. And then I did a Google search and I found her obituary. She had passed away of cancer She was only 31 years old, and she actually died in March of 2012.
Wow.
So the same, I mean, I
Huh.
had that dream a couple years or a couple months after
yeah.
she had passed. But yeah,
Wow. See, I love stories like this. Like, I
And
like
then
to
I-
believe.
Michelle loves stories
No,
of people dying.
No, I knew the minute I said it, I was like, that sounds horrible. I just mean I love, like, I love connections in some way. I love when things mean something, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, you getting the urge of, like, oh, she's on my mind. Same with you, Dana. Like, oh, I really feel like I should call Auntie. Like, I like when things mean something. I can't explain it any other way. Yeah, I mean, I had the dream about Nana
yeah,
when Mom was in the hospital.
that was the day before Mom passed, right?
Yeah,
'Cause I
yeah,
remember you
day or
telling me
two.
about it.
Yeah. So that was like a little weird, but and then I've had dreams of Mom since, and same with Nana. Nana's always there with her. I don't think Mom has ever come alone. It's always with Nana. They make a joint trip to my dreams. But they're usually just there and it's like hanging out and like in the dream they're not dead. And then when I wake up I'm like, "Oh, she's not here." Like, and it kind of hits you again. It's very strange.
After Nana died, I had a lot of the dreams I would have about her were actually like closer to nightmares. So I had one where, and I had this a couple times where I would go to the apartment building that she lived in, and it would look totally different than what it was in real life. It would be like just this dark stairway. And I would walk up and I would knock on the door, and just some random old woman would open the door really slowly and just look at me and smile instead of Nana. And it would freak me out. And then I had another one where we were at Nana's apartment for Thanksgiving, just like we used to do when she was alive. And all the relatives were there. Like all the aunties, Joe, her special companion, was there. Mom was there. Me and Dana would be there, and everybody would be talking. And Nana would be sitting in her seat and no one would be talking to her. And I was the only one that knew she was there, and she would just be looking at me. So that used to freak me out. And then finally, what put an end to the Nana dreams was I had a dream where she and I were standing in, like, it looked like a Roman Colosseum. Like there were like these like pillars, and we were like looking at like pictures of, like, I don't know if it was my life, her life, our lives, just like family stuff, like in between, like these images were between the pillars, and we were just talking. And then that was like the last time I ever dreamed about her. So
Well, it's weird
Mom,
that
like I said, Mom has decided not to come and visit me in a dream at all. I don't know. Maybe she decided
maybe that's
that
you pushing your emotions away or something.
I don't do such things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's weird that I dream of Nana because I never met her. I don't know what her voice sounds like. I don't really even know that I know what she looks like that well. Like, she could walk in here right now and I'd be like, do I know you? You kind of look familiar, maybe. Like, I don't know that I would know her. You guys have, like, memories with her, like the Thanksgiving thing. I'm like, no, Mom used to cook Thanksgiving. But it's, like, it's weird. So I don't know why I have dreams with her in them. But I know she's my grandmother in the dream. It's really weird.
Do you ever have dreams about your other grandmother?
What other
Or do you
grandmother?
think your dad's grandmother?
Oh, no.
Your dad's
I have
mother.
no
Or do you
idea
think
what
maybe
she
'cause-
looks like.
Or do you think maybe because you didn't really... So, like, you would be connected to Nana by blood, whereas your father was adopted, so she wasn't his biological mother, so you really don't have a connection to her,
Maybe.
necessarily.
Yeah, because if my dad's mom walked in here, there would be a strange lady in my house. I could not pick her out of a lineup. I have no idea what she looked like. I could not tell you what. I couldn't tell you what Uncle Wayne looked like.
She was your typical little old lady with white hair.
Yeah.
That's how I remember
one
her.
time
That's how I
going
remember her.
to Quincy on a Christmas at Uncle Wayne's to see her.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe she was on oxygen
She was
or in
very
a
old.
wheelchair or
She was very old
something.
and frail by that point, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember when she died, I remember Dad coming in and telling me that his mom had died, and I felt really sad, but I didn't cry, and I was like, should I be crying? Like my grandmother is dead? Like, and I was young even thinking that. Like, I feel like I should have more emotions than this. So it is very odd to be a person that never had grandparents. I know I had them, but I didn't have a relationship with them. So when people who are adults now and they're like, "Oh, my grandmother died," I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and I am, but I don't feel it the same as when someone tells me that a parent has passed. You know?
How about you,
That
Dave?
makes
Have you ever had those dreams about our grandparents from our father's side?
Our grandparents, no. I did have one dream about our father once.
Oh.
It was after he died. Not, I don't think it was right after he died, but we were walking in like the woods near a river. And I was like, where are you from? Like, where were you born? I know nothing about you. And he was like, I was born on Chesterfield on Rye. And then he's like, and then he said, and I'm 66 years old. And that was when I was a kid, I used to ask him how old he was, and he would always say 66. I'm 66.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
I was thinking about this. So I told you guys about that dream I used to have like all the time.
Yes, don't say it. Don't tell it again.
You don't want me to tell it again?
Don't tell it again. That really scared me. Don't tell it again.
It's Halloween. Tell it.
Now the audience is going to be.
Dana
now I'm
used to
leaving
have
the
this dream that he would hear a knock on the window, right? It was a window.
It was the window.
Yeah, he would have a knock on the window, and there would just be a person like looking in at him, and he would get really scared. And then it kept happening and happening, and then one day he stood up to the guy in the window, and it never happened again.
Well, no, so
There's the good, friendly version of that.
I would have this recurring dream of a guy knocking on the window and just like glaring at me. And then, so I'm trying to think of when I started having this dream. I was trying to think about when I started having it. And as I'm thinking about it more and more, and I'm thinking about when I stopped having it, I think it could possibly have been our father.
So you think when he
I think
died, it stopped?
I think I might have started. No, I think I might have started having it when he died.
Oh.
And then, because I remember having it when me and Caitlin lived in Marshfield. I remember I used that because we had those low windows. So I remember the knocking on the window and the guy was like in our window. Like,
It's when Dana does this weird eye thing. It scares me.
and then I would wake up and obviously look in the window and there's no one there. And then I would keep on having it. And then I remember having it in Rockland and I would keep having this dream. And then it was here a few years ago. I started having it again. But this time he would be knocking at our kitchen door, which has the window. Mm-hmm. And I would pull the shade back and then like I would be there. But I could never remember. I still can't really remember a face. Just a guy, a figure, right? And then I just remember one night, because I was having it several times within like a couple weeks, and I was like, I really gotta like get myself. But when I'm in my state of sleep, I gotta remember. I gotta like try to talk to this guy and try to do something with this. I need to get rid of this guy. And I just remember one night, I started having the dream again. I opened the door. I pulled the guy in like I was gonna fight him, and then he just like glared at me, ran off, and then I never had the dream again.
I mean, it is possible it could be your dad. There's unresolved things there. It could be. Very possible.
Yeah, so I don't know. Weird. But I haven't had it since.
I don't
And
think
then-
I've ever had a dream about my dad.
And then my recurring dream that I always had that must have started when I was really, really young because I was in the crib with the white gloved hands that would come up from the sides of the crib, and they would tickle me. I would have that dream all the time, and I remember when I was like 4 or 5, I told Mom about it, and her response was, "Oh, it's probably really happening."
See, because Mom believed in spirits. She probably did think it was really happening.
Or Mom was playing a really sick joke on you.
Yeah.
No, there was one time. No, Mom had a weird sense of humor. There was one time she was in the bedroom. We were on Church Street. She was taking a nap. It was so quiet in the house. And I kept peeking in to see if she was awake. And then she wasn't. And I'd go back down and I'd wait a little bit. Because I don't know if we were like going to go to the mall or I don't know what we were going to do. But I kept going in. I'm like, is she awake yet? And she wasn't. And I'd go back, and then I'd peek in again. So I think she heard me keep like coming in, coming in, coming in. So the last time I went in, I peeked in. Her eyes would close, and then she was like, and her eyes opened like really wide and very like abrupt, and I screamed and ran to the kitchen. And she just thought it was the funniest thing. She had a really weird sense of humor sometimes. That was very scary. Because I just wasn't expecting it. I just thought like she would just kind of, like, honey, I'm awake. You can come in. Because she was so sweet. But she had a twisted side. Yeah. And then I actually did have a reoccurring dream once that I was friends with Anne Frank. Don't know why. And her mom was the Mona Lisa. And Albert Einstein. Again, don't know why. And Mom and Dad and I would go and have dinner with them. And I would have that like once a year. I would have this dream once a year. I never figured out what it meant. Hasn't happened in a really long time. Don't know what that means.
I had the strangest dream last night that Hawaii and I were best friends with the new Japanese prime minister, and we were going, we were sent to like. It was really weird. We were in Japan. Hawaii and I have been talking about Japan, but yeah, we were sent to like make dinner reservations at a restaurant for the Japanese prime minister, and it was during the dream. I'm like, why am I making the reservations for the prime minister to go? We're supposed to be there too. But the person at the restaurant was talking to me like, well, there's no way you're friends with the new Japanese prime minister.
It's very strange.
Yeah.
Dave's gonna get a friend request on Facebook.
Doesn't sound very much like a scary dream. Now, a scary dream would be if I had a dream where I was friends with Donald Trump. That would be terrifying. We have our reservations at McDonald's.
Oh, so funny. All right, well, this wasn't too scary. Thought we were going to have a scary, scary night.
That's because we haven't gotten to the real stories yet. We haven't talked about that time that I was on an elevator and someone put a bomb on it.
Oh, stop. I didn't like elevators for the longest time because of the movie Speed. And the guy, they're like shooting it up, at the I didn't like that. I don't like scary things. That movie is not Michelle friendly.
I really love like horror movies. A lot of them are crappy. Like I know if it's going to be a PG-13 ghost story, it's going to be lame. So, but I really love like the creepier kind of horror. I don't like the gory stuff so much, but the creepier stuff. You know, a movie actually genuinely left me like kind of like freaked out for the next week was Sinister, which I never expected.
Really?
With Ethan Hawke. Have either? Well, I know Michelle, you probably haven't seen it. Have you ever seen
not.
I've never seen that one, no.
I thought it was going to be like one of those kind of teen level audience horror movies for whatever reason, but no, it was not like that at all. It was freaky as hell.
Yeah, no.
So give it a watch if you want nightmares.
Can't really think of many movies that have left me shook.
The only other movie that left me shook was actually The Changeling, which is an old movie from the 70s starring George C. Scott. They used to show it on Channel 56 all the time. And when I was a kid, it wasn't any particular scene in the movie. It was a character talking about what one of her children had seen. This character was like during the dialogue was talking about how her son or daughter had freaked out because they saw a little boy trying to claw his way up from the bedroom floor. And when I heard that as a kid, the image just stuck in my head and it freaked me the hell out. So, yeah.
Crazy.
I feel like when I was a kid, the Poltergeist movies used to give me nightmares, but
yeah, that was the the Reddit story that I was like, oh, that's the changeling, because somebody posted like, when I was having a dream, I used to have this dream that a little kid would try to come up from the floor, and I never stopped having the dream until we laid a carpet over it. And it's like, yeah, whatever.
Also, that's very Edgar Allan Poe. Like, floorboards.
It is very
you know?
Edgar Allan Poe-ish. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Changeling for an old movie was kind of pretty good for a ghost story.
Yeah. No, not for me. Not for me.
No. Next week.
Next week,
My turn.
you're up.
Don't forget
you
to
guys
set your
been-
clock back this weekend.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Everyone set your clocks back. Have you been following the NBA gambling scandal /
A little bit.
underground
I know
poker games?
bits and pieces.
So I want to talk a little bit about that next week. I want to talk about how I feel that the influx of sports gambling has really kind of ruined sports for me. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I've never been a sports bettor. I know people, it's no secret that I've enjoyed gambling, although I'm kind of on an abstinence period right now. But I've never enjoyed sports gambling. I've never liked sports gamblers. Anyone I've met has been really sleazy and the typical person you don't want to be around. And now it's so prevalent.
Dave.
When we go to Vegas, I'm always laying down at least on a couple games.
You bet like one game. I'm talking like there's been people I've known. They can't like. I remember when I was younger, there was this guy we used to hang out with. He had it was like a friend of a friend, and he was like a really bad sports gambler. He could not function. He was on the phone every 5 minutes placing bets. He always had to be in action. And you're talking about someone that he inherited like a few $100,000 when his parents died, and he like lost it all in months
Yeah.
because he always had to be in action, and he couldn't help himself. And I never understood that. That's especially with the sports gambling, but now it's at everyone's fingertips with the phones.
I was just
and
gonna
it's
say we're in a
legalized.
different time now because
And now it's like
of the
I
apps.
just think
and-
I can just see so many people's lives getting ruined. So I really want to talk about.
Yeah, let's save it. Let's.
I want
save
to
it
talk.
for
I want to
next
talk about
week.
that next week. We can talk about the actual case because the NBA and apparently all the NBA executives and reporters and ESPN, they were all blindsided by this. They weren't expecting this at all. Where I knew it was coming because I've been following an investigative journalist that's been reporting on this for over a year, and the FBI has been contacting him regularly. So I knew this was coming down. I don't know. Everyone was blind to it, I guess. They didn't want to believe it was going to be happening. But
Yeah, some people just don't want to see the truth.
even to see major sports journalists say they were blindsided by it is ridiculous because this has been telegraphed. Like, I was not surprised at all by the indictment. I was not surprised at all by the names I saw in the indictment because I've been hearing these stories for over a year. So, yeah, I want to talk about that and about where I worry a lot of this is going for society.
Do
And
you
it's
think
starting.
this will end up?
Go ahead, David.
Go ahead, finish. I was just gonna say.
No, I was
do you
just gonna say
think
it's starting as young as like kids my age, because they're building a lot of those type of mentality, psychological sports betting mentality things into like the kids games, like Fortnite and Roblox. They're building those into the games. So I'm very concerned about
The youth.
where this is all headed.
Do you think this will be as big of a scandal as steroids in baseball was 20 years ago?
Sadly, I don't, because the sports gambling is legal now. So, and it's a big money business, and it's going to get swept under the rug. But it's going to be a serious issue.
It was,
I have thoughts, but I'm going to save it for next week.
yeah, I'll save them too. I was just going to say, like the steroids thing, that was another one where the media wasn't saying they were blindsided, but they were reporting on it as if it was like new information that these big time athletes were doing this and kind of moralizing a little bit about it.
Yeah.
And I remember reading like particularly some like individual sports columnists that had been writing about particular teams for years were suddenly like moralizing about players on those teams that had been, using performance enhancing substances. And it's like, you're really going to pretend now that you had no idea that this was going on and you're shocked and you're, insulted about the integrity of the game being stained. Like, yeah. So.
Yeah. So I figured that would be a good topic to talk about.
Yeah. Plus, gambling in general is a very popular thing. That's a good topic anyway.
It's spread everywhere now, right? I mean, even casinos used to just be like a Vegas and Atlantic City thing, and
Well,
now
this is-
they're
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
I
popping
mean,
up, and you can do sports betting at casinos now. It's
yeah.
it's a
But
lot.
most people, like, I mean, a lot of the casinos are dying now because people can just do it on their phone. So
Yeah.
the casinos are bleeding money now because it's so convenient. Like, there's so
I don't
many
know
options.
that they're bleeding money.
Well,
Casinos.
I mean, Vegas is. I mean, a lot
Vegas
of
is.
Vegas is bleeding money. So the casinos that do exist, that do still exist, they're not making money off of gambling anymore. They're making money off the food and entertainment
yeah.
and all
Well,
the
you know
luxury
what though?
services they provide.
When Vegas is charging $18 for a slice of pizza and $15 for a fountain soda,
Well,
I think they should lose some money.
They're trying to price us out. They want to price out the middle and lower class people, and they want to only serve the rich people. They're purposely doing it. They admitted it. The executives have admitted it. They don't understand that it's like the lower and middle class people that actually the crowds are what keep that city going.
Yeah, I saw something that they were trying to make Las Vegas a family, like a family vacation destination or something. I heard that like a couple months ago. Because
know,
I think
but-
it was down.
But that's not kind of the aspect. I want to talk about the dark and seedy side of it, and what this big controversy has led a lot of my thoughts to. So
Yeah.
that will be what we talk about next week.
Okay. I just have one quick question before we sign off. Dave, did you watch Love is Blind?
I did not.
Okay. Dana, are you feeling any differently on How I Met Your Mother?
No. So I will tell you. I got to episode 7,
Okay.
and I just stopped. I can't. I
Oh,
tried.
see,
I
Mike
can't.
said you got to give it one season. That
And
was
then I'm-
Mike's advice.
And on Love is Blind, I'm about
Yep.
to check out. We finished season 3.
Oh yeah, it
And
starts to
they-
get real.
They ruined Cole.
Oh,
They
I
ruined
know.
him.
I know. I
If
felt
you-
bad for him.
They ruined him.
Yep.
Zanib
loved-
ruined him. Zanib ruined him, but I think the producers ruined him. I think
Did-
the show ruined him.
So you finished the whole season
So
reunion
we
and everything?
Yeah, everything. And
I
like,
loved that they played the cuties
if you go from
clip
the
at the
beginning,
end.
if you go from the beginning where he was till the end, they ruined him.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
gave
like,
him a bad edit.
completely. And
And the way she went off on him at the wedding,
if
was
she had just done the first half of her
uncalled
speech,
for.
if she had just done the first half of the speech, where she said no,
Yeah.
and that he needs someone that she's not going to be able to provide. Like if she had just, that would have been a perfectly
Yeah,
fine
solid
speech.
no. Yes.
Because you could tell from the beginning that he knew she was going to say no, whether
Yes.
she telegraphed it to him, or they said the final episode that like he just figured out that she was probably going to say no.
Yeah.
But you could tell he was prepared for her to say no. I do not think he knew that she was going to go on that and air
No.
all that dirty laundry.
No, he
and
attacked.
twist
she
it the way she
attacked
did.
him.
And then for all of her family and friends to clap after it, it
Yeah.
was they ruined him. They broke him, and he's still to this day. Because I looked him up, I wanted to see what's going on with him. He's not right. He's mentally. He's
Oh, see, I don't follow
So,
him or anything on Instagram,
yeah,
but
like he's not right mentally. So
I didn't
that
love
show
him, but I
ruined-
didn't hate him. I thought that they did him dirty.
They did him really dirty. I
Yeah.
liked them together.
Yeah.
Until towards the end when they were fighting all the time.
Yeah.
And then I was like, this can't happen. But so I'm at the point where I'm like, is this how it's going to be? Where they're just going to ruin people's lives?
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Because I can't do that. I can't sit through that. I can sit through the superficial. They're just there to be on TV
Yep.
and try to get famous. That's fine. Whatever. That's all well and good. I can sit through the people that are legitimately there, that find love, that want to
Yeah.
be married.
It's
I
the
like that.
internet, though.
It's the people that really get messed up by it. I can't go along with it. I
It's
can't.
the internet. That's what gives.
I don't derive pleasure
people-
from watching people's lives get ruined.
Yeah.
So-
It's just because they post it on the internet and then everyone on the internet has something to say. You know what I mean? Just like politics. It's the same. Like everyone just has an opinion and they think their opinion is right. And they think because they're watching a show that is very clearly edited for entertainment, they think it's real. Like you have to take everything that you watch on a reality TV show as a
except
grain
the
of
thing
salt.
is-
with
except-
a grain of salt.
Except you're right. Except in this case, there was real world consequences where someone's life and someone's mental health was really affected.
Yeah, because of the stupid people on the internet that just like
but not
believed
just the
that
internet.
he-
I think because of the show and because of the producers of the show, I think, based on what some of the other contestants have said in the past, they ply them with alcohol, they put them
Oh
in
yeah,
situations.
there's like a whole lawsuit.
And I know that they those lawsuits probably won't go anywhere because I know they probably have to sign away a waiver that they're
Yeah,
going to do this
yeah.
stuff to them.
Yeah, but they're like they have no contact, no like zero. They're very
Yeah.
isolated, which is definitely not good for your mental health.
Yeah.
We need people, right?
Yeah.
But anyway,
And
I
what
just
they-
wanted
and what
a,
they-
I wanted
and what
a
the
quick
producers
update.
what the producers would say is, oh, it's a psychological experiment. But
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm sad you don't like him, and Dave, I'm sad you didn't even give episode 1 a chance of Love Is Blind.
Maybe I will at some point. We'll see.
Yeah, I would love. Wouldn't you love a therapist take on that?
that would be interesting. Would be interesting.
Yeah,
Maybe one day.
maybe.
All right, guys.
All right.
All right. Oh, I guess I
yeah.
should close
Yeah,
the show,
let's-
right?
Yes.
Because I am
Yeah.
the host.
You
So-
ready to wrap this up?
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for the last, hour and a half?
Yeah.
We appreciate everybody tuning in and chiming in. And next week we'll talk about the scandal that's rocking the NBA. I haven't actually really followed it a whole lot. I know a couple of the names that are involved,
Me
but
too.
it should be interesting to dive into.
I'll try to do some research this week
Yeah.
Okay.
so I come educated.
Yes.
Excellent.
All right. Well, happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy
Halloween.
Halloween.
And bye.
Bye.